Your day and stay safe. From KCRG TV9, this is First Alert Weather Now.
And good evening, folks. Welcome to the Tuesday night edition of First Alert Weather Now. I'm meteorologist Thompson.
And I'm meteorologist Messier.
And it has been a little bit of a mixed bag today. Some areas saw clouds, some areas saw more sun, and so your overall weather opinion may vary depending on that.
Yeah, we were outside out in Lynn County today, and it actually got pretty chilly. I kind of wished I had brought a hat with me because the winds really impacted how it felt out there.
Yeah, they did, and they're actually going to stick around a little bit longer than what we saw last night, for example. We'll get into the details of the effects of that coming up in just a little bit. We've also got this week's weather-wise.
That's right. We have another question, and today's question is very timely. Is considering what's at the end of our 9-day forecast.
All right, there's a tease indeed. We've got an update on the wildfire situation in parts of the United States too. But first, as you head outside,
we are looking at conditions tonight being, again, a little bit on the chilly side. In our first alert forecast, we have some chances for rain expected on Wednesday as well. You'll need the umbrella as you head out the door for your Wednesday afternoon. Afterwards will be nice and sunny, warm considering it is November. And as we already alluded to in your first alert forecast, we have the first few flakes of the year possible, or of the season possible, next week. Now this is what it looks like on our satellite and radar right now, though. There are a couple of clouds in our northern counties, but most of the area nice and clear. Those clear skies are going to help temperatures drop back into the 30s tonight in a lot of places. On our Solon City Cam, it is quiet in Solon, and temperatures are in the 30s and 40s. Wind chills, though, are pretty consistently in the 30s. 43 in Cedar Rapids, but it feels like 36. 39 in Dubuque, but it feels like 35. Now, in terms of this evening, we have those temperatures dropping into the 30s by 6 a.m., 38 degrees with some clouds here and there and winds out of the southeast, 10 to 20.
Yeah, not too bad. A little warmer than last night. We got in the 20s in some spots last night, so we're going to be at least ahead of that, but that's all because the storm system's coming.
Right. The storm systems on Wednesday will bring in some more chances for rain, which is good, which you'll talk more about in your full forecast.
Yeah, for sure. We'll have that in just a bit. But first, we've got more things going on this week, and meteorologist Joe Winters has today's edition of the Forecast for Fun.
Forecast for Fun does include some activities. We're starting to see a few holiday activities, but as we move through the next couple of weeks, of course, more and more move in. Walking forecast as we head through the mid part of the week still features some showers on Wednesday, so if you're out mid-afternoon, be prepared for that. Morning walk on Wednesday would be good. Thursday looks good. Friday looks good as well. Some lighter winds on Friday. In fact, not a bad day to get out with that high near 57 degrees. Speaking of holiday events, it's already time for the Festival of Trees held at Lyndale Mall in Cedar Rapids. The Jingle Mingle on Thursday looks good. Sensory Day on Friday with 57. The weekend looking quiet on Saturday. There's a slight chance of a shower on Sunday, but if you're planning to come to the Festival of Trees, most of the activities are inside anyway, and that chance is so slight, I'm really not worried about a lot of rain. 'Tis the season kickoff in downtown Iowa City. Low 50s, mid 40s. That's Friday. Of course, the pop-up kids market from 5 until 8. Christmas tree sales, trolley rides, free cider, holiday lights will be turned on for the first time. At Morgan Creek Park in Cedar Rapids, also on Friday between 5 and 7, it's the Fall Luminary Walk. There'll be a campfire for s'mores. Bring your own s'mores stuff to make them with. Family-friendly, self-guided walk with a southeast wind at 10 to 20. And let's not forget college football. 49 for UNI's kickoff at Youngstown. 50 degrees for Iowa State's kickoff, that at Ames, taking on Cincinnati. That takes a look at our mid-November forecast for fun.
Now, your First Alert forecast with meteorologist Thompson.
Easy night to get out and about around eastern Iowa, but you do need to be ready for those chillier temperatures. Hannah showed you those readings just a moment ago. Our North Liberty City Cam shows a good reason why. The winds have not calmed down as much as they did last night. They're not really expected to overnight, so expect those to continue to be in that 10 to 15 mile per hour range at times. That's going to take those air temperatures, push them down to the 30s, and then by later tonight, perhaps down into the upper 20s. So despite the slightly warmer thermometer readings, we will likely feel about the same for the start of your Wednesday. And that does involve that chance for some showers. We've been giving you the first alert to this for a few days, and we still have that chance as we head toward tomorrow afternoon in particular. They will be scattered, so not totally wet all the time, but the chance is actually pretty good as this storm system moves through the region. Now, the wider view of our satellite and radar picture, you see this bank of clouds that we had across a good portion of eastern Iowa shrunk really rapidly as we lost daytime heating, and that has since mostly gone away. That is setting up what should be, at least to start, a mostly clear night, but clouds will increase as we go through it, and so these temperatures will only fall into the mid-30s in the northeast where clouds arrive latest, upper 30s to around 40 in the southwest where those clouds arrive first and provide that sort of insulating factor that they often do. By tomorrow afternoon, we're talking 47 in Charles City, but only 51 in Iowa City. So everyone definitely on the cooler side, but our normal high by this point in the calendar is only 46. So we're actually still above that, even though it will feel chilly tomorrow as we get skies turning grayer. Now here's a view of our pinpoint futurecast tonight, expecting things to remain again fairly clear to start, but then those clouds really do start to move in. 4 o'clock, you start seeing them pushing past the Interstate 35 corridor into eastern Iowa. Tomorrow morning, a bit of a mix. We'll have some sun, more clouds than not, and as we go through the morning, more clouds start to move in. By about 11 o'clock, our western fringe of counties here, a few showers start to appear there too. That continues to track west to east through the rest of the afternoon. By 2 o'clock, yeah, a little bit of wet weather possible in Cedar Rapids and Iowa City, and this continues tracking through. So for your evening commute on Wednesday, yeah, showers are a pretty good chance, and that sticks into the evening and in the early portions of the overnight. Now, eventually this does wrap up. Literally, that area of low pressure tracks off to the northeast, takes its showers with it, and it looks like Thursday should be cloudy, but at least dry. Now, in terms of rainfall amounts, we're talking a couple tenths of an inch of rain with this system as it passes by. Not a ton, but we could have at least that start to show up. Now, we do have a decent shot at some wet weather as we look ahead toward next week. Well, it doesn't look like this is actually going to load up for me quite like I was hoping it would. That's very interesting. What a weird, interesting little glitch we're having here. But an area of low pressure is going to develop here on the plains. You can't see the clouds and precipitation with it, but it's going to track to the northeast as it does. And it's eventually going to bring in that shot for additional rain here in eastern Iowa. Now, a factor with this will be a tropical system that actually develops here in the western Caribbean. It's going to track into the Gulf of Mexico, it looks like, and potentially affect the Florida Peninsula as we head toward the middle portion of next week. Now, surprise, surprise, even though these are so far away, these are actually going to interact, and the exact track and timing of each of them will determine on what we see here in eastern Iowa. Now, if this area of low pressure gets hung up because that tropical system sort of puts a block on and prevents it from moving farther east, that's where we get the prolonged precipitation chance next week that could involve that chance for some snowflakes, as Hannah suggested earlier. If that tropical system tracks just right and it doesn't block that storm system, then we may see a shorter period of precipitation possibilities and a reduced chance for additional wintry type precipitation. So we're going to keep a close eye on it and give you more information as we get closer.
One thing I absolutely love about this time of year is the fact that the atmosphere can be so complicated with these moving systems, and the forecast is kind of fun to get to try to figure out where exactly the low is and where the snow is going to end up. Yeah,
we shall see, and we'll keep a close eye on it too. We're keeping a close eye on stuff going on the West Coast, where firefighters are still working to tame a massive wildfire that broke out last week, exploded in size. Thousands have been forced to leave their homes in evacuations.
Meanwhile, firefighters in the Northeast are also battling smaller wildfires. ABC's Rena Roy has details on the fires and if there's any relief in sight.
Rare wildfires burning thousands of acres across New Jersey and New York, with drought conditions helping fuel the flames.
We're a little nervous because you could smell the burning ash, and it's crazy.
The Jennings Creek fire, about 30 miles northwest of New York City, blazing on the border of the two states since Saturday. Crews gearing up today to go back out and try to contain it. New York's governor is saying it's the largest fire in years in the Empire State.
No structures are currently under threat. Last night we had a very difficult touch and go situation, but I thank God for the teams we had on the ground that created the fire line necessary to protect these individuals' homes.
Many people voluntarily evacuating.
It's heartbreaking. We could all lose our homes from the fire, and then our family history from up here would be gone.
National Guard choppers dropping hundreds of gallons of water in an effort to get things under control. In Ulster County, firefighters trying to create a fire break to control the flames there.
We're trying to avoid letting it spread over here to where behind me. Our task right now is to clear all the leaves and things that could burn from this trail and make it about 10 to 12 feet wide.
In Southern California, the mountain fire has burned more than 20,000 acres and destroyed nearly 200 structures. The flames, more than 40% contained, but strong winds up to 40 miles per hour elevate the wildfire risk. Those winds expected to come down slightly tonight.
Here in the Northeast, we do have colder air today, and that means gusty winds, which could cause these fires to spread even more. But winds are expected to die down a bit on Wednesday. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
Yeah, that season seems to go longer and longer around the year, around different places in the country, more often than it used to.
And the droughts that we've seen in parts of the country certainly don't help.
Yeah, that has been a huge contributing factor, especially in places like the Northeast, where it's not really their normal, typical thing that they have to deal with.
Right, but luckily here in eastern Iowa, we've had a few rain systems to kind of wet things up, and our forecast does have more rain and even some flakes in the forecast at the very end of the 9-day, like Corey talked about. That brings us to today's WeatherWise question sent in by Jack.
When does it start to snow in Iowa?
Thank you for that question, Jack. Now, here in eastern Iowa, the average first date of measurable snowfall, that is at about a trace of snow and higher. Cedar Rapids, that date is about November 16th, so we are approaching that date. Dubuque also November 16th. Iowa City a little bit later, which makes sense. Iowa City is a little bit further south, November 29th, and also November 15th in Waterloo. Now, this is a look at the last 5 years when we've seen that first trace of snowfall. In October 29, 2019, 2.5 inches about of snow fell, and that was the earliest recorded snowfall in 2019. We had a little bit over a trace fall in mid-October in 2020 and mid-November 2021 and mid-November 2022. But actually, last year, we didn't really see snow till the end of November, but our first snowfall was a decent amount at 3.7 inches. Now, this is the average date of that first inch of snow, so more than a trace. That first inch of snow here in eastern Iowa, that is December 6th in Cedar Rapids, late November in Dubuque, beginning of December in Iowa City, and the end of November in Waterloo. And we have that first inch of snow in the last 5 years. Again, October 2019 was 2.5, also in 2020. Now, as we look ahead to 2021, we had that first inch of snow not fall until the end of December, and it was quite a large amount, 3.2 inches. 2022, about 1.5 inches in the middle of November, and at the end of November, about 3.7 inches again. And that was the snow we saw last year. Now, if you would like to submit a question to our WeatherWise, go ahead and go to kcrg.com/unews.
Thanks, Anna. And yeah, we may end up meeting some of those marks. We'll have to see here toward the end of the 9-day forecast. We showed you that rain that's moving in tomorrow. Remember, mostly during the afternoon and especially toward the evening. Thursday behind it will still be kind of blustery. That actually could be an opportunity for some of those stronger winds to still be around, this time from the northwest. Now, we're not expecting a really cold air mass to move in behind this, but it will eventually start to die down a bit. Friday, in fact, looks like a really nice day in terms of both air temperatures and the winds being lighter. You'll see that with temperatures in the 50s here, well into the 50s, and more sunshine too. Something to look forward to there as we wrap up the work and school week, and the start of the weekend also looks pretty nice. Now, Sunday, we kind of skipped by this in our main forecast segment there in terms of a little bit of a chance for some showers. Here's a little bit of opportunity during the nighttime hours, Saturday night. That looks pretty slim. The chance during the day on Sunday also very, very slight. You see how limited that area of rainfall is there. If it takes place, amounts would be quite low. And so that's why we just carry that slight risk for a little bit of shower activity there. But it's the middle of next week. That's where we are keeping an eye on for that complex weather evolution there with temperatures that will potentially fall pretty well. I think that does seem like one of the surer things coming out of this weather pattern is that there will be access to a good amount of air coming from the north, and that will drive those temperatures, well, actually, potentially below normal for a little while, at least in terms of our highs. Our lows still don't look like they're going to plummet too far at this point. We'll keep an eye on it. Even though there's snow on the 9 days, doesn't mean that it's going to be a blockbuster snowstorm when you see that sort of thing.
Right, and it is at the end of the 9 days, so it is still about a week or more out. So we're going to watch it carefully here in the weather lab. One thing that I always, a pitfall of mine is like, I'll forecast, oh look, it's going to be in the upper 30s at the end of the 9 day, but I'll forget what that feels like. So I'll walk outside forgetting my winter coat and go, well, that was a mistake. Yeah, and we have felt 30s, of course, air temperature wise, but not as our peak temperature yet. So that will be a bit of a shift if that does come to pass. But like you said, we gave you the first alert here tonight, and we'll continue to update that and give you all the latest as we know it. Yes. And thanks for joining us tonight on First Alert Weather Now. Back here tomorrow night, same time, same place. Enjoy the evening.